Greetings to all of you, wherever you are around the globe. This is a very intense time that we're in as we are watching the spread of the COVID-19 coronavirus and seeing how it's changing our world and our way of life. And during this intense time, it's important for us to be there for and with each other, to grieve with those who are grieving, to support those who are suffering or struggling. And it's a time for each of us to step back and reflect on our lives. In our world that's so fast-paced and so full of distraction and stimulation, how often do we have a chance to actually reflect and meditate on our lives, individually and collectively? And as we're taking that time out, the earth herself is getting a time out, and it's extraordinary how we're seeing how rapidly the earth can begin to come back into balance and heal when we stop exploiting her and polluting her. It's amazing to see how the air has cleared dramatically around the globe and how the water is recovering. The channels in Venice are clear for the first time in decades. We've pulled back from all the ways that we can be so destructive to our Mother Earth. So this is giving us a profound time to reorient, to reconfigure, to heal, and to transform. I mentioned in my last video how what we're seeing is the transformation of all those planets in Capricorn that are calling us to break down the structures and paradigms of the past, to open to new, more fair and just and equitable and compassionate paradigms. So as we have this time out, let's allow ourselves to begin to heal and to begin to drop into our deeper selves, to reassess how we're living our lives. Another powerful planetary influence that I want to talk about that's supporting us in this time is the energy of the dwarf planet Eris Xena. This planet is extraordinary in that her orbit is dramatically different than the other planets in our inner solar system. Eris Xena was discovered in 2005. And what's amazing about this dwarf planet is that unlike the other planets in our inner solar system, Eris Xena is 44 degrees off the ecliptic. So if all those other planets are basically following the same path in the sky, the path of the sun and the moon, and the planets as they go through the constellations of the zodiac, Eris Xena is 44 degrees off the ecliptic. And she's got a long elliptical orbit of 557 years. She's a trans-Neptunian object. So her orbit takes her out through the icy debris in our outer solar system, and then she comes back in close to us. But her orbit is dramatically different. Like Uranus, Eris Xena is a rule breaker. She doesn't follow the typical pattern that we expect of a planet. It was the discovery of this dwarf planet that led to the controversy when the international group of astronomers met in 2006 to decide if she should be named a planet or not. And it led to the conflicts about, should Pluto be called a planet? Should Ceres, the largest asteroid, be called a planet? Should this new discovery be defined that way? And interestingly enough, it led to the decision that what would define a planet is that it would have its orbit around the sun, be large enough to be round in shape, and here's the critical part, that it would have cleared its orbit so that it was the dominant planet in its orbit without others sharing in its orbit. So in other words, it had cleared its neighborhood to be the dominant force in its own orbit. So that eliminated Pluto and Ceres and Eris, since they all share part of their orbits with other planetary bodies or asteroids. What a remarkable definition that basically says you're going to be excluded from being defined as a planet if you actually have the capacity to share your orbit and collaborate with other planetary bodies. So Eris breaks the rules, has an orbit we can't quite understand, leads to this controversy over how do we actually define a planet. And because it led to such contention among astronomers, this dwarf planet, which was originally called Xena, after the television series Xena, the warrior princess, now becomes formally named Eris, after the Greek goddess of strife and discord. What I find striking is that name for this planet does not reflect her nature. It reflects our response to her. Because we don't know how to fit her in our conventional paradigms, we label her as a troublemaker. Eris, in Greek mythology, is the goddess who triggered the Trojan War. The interesting thing about this dwarf planet is her very nature is a willingness to step off the beaten track and do something unconventional, follow her own creative path. I love that she was originally named Xena, after the warrior princess. For those of you who are fans of that show, like I was, Xena is a character who, a mythical character who grows up in a violent culture and initially was a very violent warlord. She comes to a place of crisis and transformation and realizes that she has become the very thing that she fears and hates. She had been traumatized as a child by the death of her family and her village, and so she had responded with becoming violent herself. When she wakes up and realizes this and goes through her own healing and transformational process, she leaves her life as she's known it and starts out on a journey of being a spiritual warrioress who's passionate about healing and justice and openness to diversity. She's on a path, a deeply spiritual path, with no specific religion or doctrine. It is about a path of love and collaboration and connection and acceptance of diversity. Xena, the character, is so speaking to us of the energy of the Aquarian age. These are the paradigms that we're meant to move into. And this dwarf planet, which is right now in the stars of Cetus, the whale, beneath the stars of Pisces, very close to where Uranus is in the sky. And they've been in this dance together for several years. The two of them are really guiding us to wake up, to be able to see that the patterns that we've been in no longer serve us, that they're destructive and out of balance. And Eris Xena is saying, follow your own creative path. Step out of other people's expectations. Step out of survival mentality. Step out of a need to be caught in competition or consumerism or the drivenness to do more, accomplish more. She's saying, open your heart to collaboration, to connection, to the energies of the sacred feminine, which are about honoring being in right relationship with yourself, with each other, with all that is. Live from the heart. Listen to your own inner knowing. Find your own unique path. Attune to your own inner creativity. This is an extraordinary time where we have the capacity to remember who we truly are and to recover and reconnect with the creative consciousness within each one of us. We are of the stars. We are of the cosmos. We carry that cosmic and creative consciousness within us. And when we can connect to that spark of creativity that is unique within each one of us, we can find the way to be in alignment with our true self and our true path in a way that is healing for ourselves and for the world. This is a time to look at your life. Is it a reflection of your true self? If you take time to tune in to your deeper knowing and listen to your heart, what is your dream? What is your vision? Well, if you could release fear and let go of a survival mentality, step out of conformity and being controlled by others or the systems that surround us, if you truly listened to your heart and your soul and stepped onto your own true path, what would that look like? What would that feel like? How would that radically change your life and how you are in relationship with everyone and everything around you? Eris Xena in Cetus, the whale, is saying dive deep into your heart, into your inner knowing, into what's in your depths, and bring to the surface your true self. Have the courage to walk your own path in connection and collaboration with others, but in a way that you're honoring your creativity and uniqueness. This is a profound time when, if we each take responsibility for healing and attuning to who we truly are in our unique creativity, in our truth, we have the capacity to create a new world that is more in balance, more just, more open to diversity, more compassionate, truly of the heart. May we each take this time to reflect, to heal, to be there with and for each other, and to open to our creativity individually and collectively to create a new world. Blessed be.